There's a lot to talk about over the last 24 hours, especially for the WWE, as they released a huge amount of superstars. So let's go ahead and keep you guys up to date with all those top wrestling news that you need to know for the end of this week. Hit those notifications and let's get right into it. And let's talk about many of the reports right now stating reasons as to why so many superstars were released. We had the New York Post reporting that Nia Jax's WWE release happened because she was one of the superstars unvaccinated. And in a follow-up to that, Andrew Zarian reported that possibly 4 more wrestlers were released by WWE because of this reason, because they were unvaccinated. Again, one of those names which we just mentioned, Nia Jax. The other superstars' names were not revealed as the source didn't confirm it. WWE wants everyone vaccinated to avoid another outbreak, as there were several outbreaks last year at the start and during the height of the pandemic. Nia Jax's refusal to get vaccinated may also explain why she has been off WWE television for a couple of weeks. Obviously, she was taken out in storyline faction with Shayna Baszler, quote-unquote injuring her so she could step off TV. Shayna Baszler did the same thing to Eva Marie, and as we learned, she is also part of the list of releases. Now, do keep in mind that all of this is not confirmed. We did have FIFO indicating that this was a topic of discussion as of last week, that WWE wanted everyone to be vaccinated. So it's still a developing story, and there's a good chance that we will never hear confirmation from WWE themselves. The cited reason so far is due to quote-unquote budget cuts, and everything doesn't necessarily add up with this brand new reason that we're hearing, because there are a couple of top superstars who has been vocal about not getting vaccinated. There's no point on pointing fingers or just letting you guys know how it doesn't really add up. Another reason for these release, it looks like WWE discussed releasing all of the veteran talent that were not being used on TV, and they seem to have a new formula when it comes to new talent. And that formula seems to be simple, and that is that if they don't see any type of improvement within the first 6 months, those superstars will not be given a full-time contract. WWE is obviously moving in a quote-unquote younger direction. As we know, the plan with NXT is to focus more on the younger names that could eventually headline WrestleMania in 10 years from now when they are quote-unquote still young. Guys like Braun Breaker, Von Wagner, and a few other has been a major focus of NXT as of late, and WWE is trying to create those future John Cena and those future Roman Reigns. In the latest Wrestling Observer newsletter, Dave Meltzer discussed about WWE cutting almost all of the veteran wrestlers that were not being used on TV. Brian Alvarez reported earlier that the new plan is again to evaluate talent every 6 months, and if they see that these talents have not improved in those 6 months, they will be released. It's almost like WWE is giving everyone a test period, and if they messed up during that test period, they're not getting a contract. WWE has so many reasons for releasing people right now. Budget cuts is not real, so to me the most ridiculous one is the one where they think that hiring somebody that is above 25 years old, it's already a problem when it means that they're too old. It doesn't make any sense when some of your top talents are 35 and above already, and they still could go for 10 more years. Onto some extra news, we had a lot of superstars obviously reacting to their release. Many of them got a 30 days non-compete clause, many of them got a 90-day non-compete clause, so they will definitely show up in a podcast and let us know exactly what they thought of their WWE run. For the meantime though, Keith Lee is getting started as he confirmed that the Bearcat gimmick was not his idea. Following the news of his release from WWE, Keith Lee responded to a fan who claimed that the gimmick was Keith Lee's idea, which Keith Lee quickly shot that down and said no, it was not, LOL. And I'm not surprised about this if you're a fan who've been following Keith Lee's WWE journey. If you watch anything Keith Lee related on NXT, then you know that there was no point for WWE to change everything that he was doing there. So obviously, why change it on the main roster? He probably want to continue being the limitless one and continue doing the awesome things that he was doing on NXT, but obviously Vince had a different vision, one that didn't work, much like Karen Cross and a lot of NXT superstars that get called up. Talking about call up, that brings me to the next unexpected thing. John Bullock indicates that per sources, Johnny Gargano and Kyle O'Reilly are scheduled for a dark match tonight at the SmackDown tapings. Since this is a dark match, we won't be seeing it on television unless WWE change plans. But this is one of those situations where obviously Vince McMahon want to see these guys wrestle. They want to see how they perform in front of the crowd, and they testing out the water to potentially call them up. These two guys are pretty much NXT veterans at this point, alongside Tommaso Ciampa, who is the current champion. So once again, it really looks like they cleaning out NXT with those already established superstars and testing them out in the main roster to see what happens. NXT is basically going to be unrecognizable in a month from now. If you haven't watched NXT in the last 2 months, if you go back to it right now, you probably only know like 2 superstars that will show up on your television screen. That's how different it feels right now. And those 2 superstars are probably Mandy Rose and Tommaso Ciampa. Now they're going to get rid of the next 2, Kyle O'Reilly and Johnny Gargano, who probably don't even want to go to Raw SmackDown because they know what awaits for them over there, which a lot of times is nothing. More reactions are from superstars, this time former WWE superstars. We had current AEW superstar of FTR, Dax Harwood, firing back at WWE and not sugarcoating it at all. He took to Twitter and strongly criticized the company for the latest set of releases, many of which were obviously his friend. He said that he wished WCW had won the Monday Night Wars against WWE, and he then criticized WWE for having their superstar be quote-unquote independent contractors. These 2 tweets got a lot of support. We had even Eric Bischoff agreeing to all of this, which of course he will agree to it. He would have loved WCW to win. Some people might think that Dax is being a little bit harsh on WWE, but let's be honest, how harsh has WWE been this year? Harsher than anybody else. Is that even a word? I don't know. Nonetheless, they've been releasing people every 2 months this year, so it's no surprise that they are getting criticized for it. Anyways, guys, that is gonna be it. That is all the latest heading into SmackDown. And to end this week, if you guys enjoy or find this informative, don't forget to elbow drop it and hit those notifications. I'll catch you on the next one, so stay savage.